It means saying no without explanation. It means realizing that you're not responsible for how others perceive your calm. You can't control what people say about you, but you can control whether or not you invite their energy into your space. The more you protect your peace, the clearer your mind becomes. The clearer your mind becomes, the stronger your decisions get. And the stronger your decisions get, the more aligned your life becomes. Pride may win short-term battles, but peace wins the war within. You have to understand that peace is not found in perfect conditions. It's found in how you handle imperfection. It's not the absence of problems, it's the ability to stay centered in the middle of them. Pride will tell you that peace is something you earn once life settles down, but peace is actually something you choose while the storm is still raging. Protecting it means not letting external chaos turn into internal conflict. It means refusing to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. When you protect your peace, you create space for grace. You allow understanding to replace judgment, patience to replace pressure, and love to replace ego. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care differently. You stop trying to fix everyone, please everyone, and fight for everyone's approval. You start realizing that the more you protect your peace, the more your light shines naturally. Peace gives you clarity, focus, and emotional freedom. It lets you see the world as it is, not as your wounds once shaped it. Pride will have you trapped in endless cycles of reaction, but peace will set you free to respond with wisdom. Every day, life gives you a choice. Protect your peace or protect your pride. One will drain you, the other will restore you. One seeks to win arguments, the other seeks to win your soul. Pride is loud, restless, and fragile. Peace is quiet, steady, and unshakable. When you start valuing your inner calm more than external approval, that's when everything changes. You start walking differently, talking differently, reacting differently. You stop matching people's energy and start maintaining your own. Protecting your peace means knowing that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain your growth to anyone who refuses to understand it. You begin to see that peace is not a destination. It's a daily decision. Every morning, you decide whether to feed your pride or your peace. Pride says that they disrespected me, I need to respond. Peace says that they disrespected themselves, I'll move on. Pride says I can't let this go. Peace says I can't lose my joy over this. Protecting your peace requires humility. The kind that doesn't mean thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself enough to not get dragged into battles beneath you. You don't need to prove your value in chaos when you know your worth in silence. There's a certain beauty in not reacting, in letting things slide that once stole your sleep. That's growth, that's wisdom. That's what happens when you finally learn that your peace is too expensive to be traded for drama, validation, or ego. You stop trying to win every fight because you realize that peace is the real victory. Protecting your peace, not your pride, becomes your way of life. Silence speaks louder than reaction. Those words hold a power that most people never learn until they've wasted years trying to make noise in places where peace would have spoken for them. There is a deep strength in silence, a kind that doesn't need to prove, defend, or explain. When life throws insults, betrayal, and misunderstanding your way, your first instinct is to respond, to clear your name, to make people see your truth. But silence, true silence, is the answer that doesn't beg to be understood. It's the calm confidence that says, I know who I am, and that's enough. The louder you try to defend yourself, the more you give away your power. But when you choose silence, you stand in control. You're not running from the storm. You're mastering the art of not letting it shake your inner peace. Silence is not weakness. It's emotional intelligence in its highest form. It's knowing that not every comment deserves a comeback and not every situation requires your energy. There are moments when silence will protect your dignity better than words ever could. Because the truth is, people hear what they want to hear. They'll twist your words, question your motives, and still find a way to make you the villain. But when you stay silent, you give them nothing to work with. You become unpredictable, untouchable, and unbothered. Silence confuses those who thrive on chaos. It starves the drama of oxygen and forces negativity to suffocate on its own. There is a time for speaking and a time for silence, but most people get it backward. They speak when they should listen and react when they should reflect. Silence gives you space to think, to breathe, to understand what's really happening beneath the surface. When you choose silence, you allow time to reveal what words never could, because time has a way of showing the truth. The same people who doubted you, talked behind your back, or tried to bring you down, they eventually expose themselves without you having to lift a finger. Your silence becomes the most powerful statement they can't argue with. When you react, you become a part of the chaos. You start matching energy, throwing words, and losing your center. But when you stay silent, you rise above it. You start to realize that silence isn't about suppressing your voice. It's about mastering your emotions. You're not ignoring the situation. You're choosing not to let it control you. That's what strength looks like. Calmness under fire, grace in the face of ignorance, and discipline when everything inside you wants to explode. The world expects you to react. That's what keeps it entertained. But when you choose silence, you choose peace over performance. Silence is also a teacher. It shows you who truly listens, who respects your calm, and who tries to disturb it. In your silence, you observe the truth about people, how they treat you when you're no longer trying to explain yourself. Some people only value your voice when it serves them, and when it doesn't, they'll misjudge your quiet. But silence doesn't need validation. It's the quiet strength that only those who've been broken and rebuilt can understand. The most powerful people aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who can sit in silence and still feel whole. Silence speaks when words can't. It's the language of maturity, growth, and inner peace. When you've been through enough storms, you learn that reacting to everything is a waste of soul energy. You stop fighting for attention and start living for alignment. You no longer rush to respond because you've learned that peace is louder than any explanation. The moment you stop trying to prove your truth is the moment you start living it. Silence allows your actions to do the talking, and actions always echo louder than any defense ever could. Sometimes silence hurts because you want to be understood. You want to clear the air, fix the misunderstanding, and make people see your side. But that desire often keeps you tied to things that don't deserve your energy. Silence, though uncomfortable, is the boundary that separates from chaos. It's choosing to protect your energy even when your ego is screaming for a reaction. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves a response. Some people only want to drain you, and silence is the shield that saves you. There will be moments when silence will feel heavy. You'll sit in rooms where lies about you are spoken. You'll scroll past things that twist your truth. You'll hear whispers that sting. And still, you'll stay quiet, not because you're weak, but because you've grown. You've learned that life doesn't reward the loud, it rewards the wise. You'll realize that silence is not about doing nothing. It's about doing what's right for your peace. Every time you choose silence, you choose yourself. Silence gives you clarity. It helps you see beyond emotions. Words spoken in anger or pride often leave scars, but silence leaves space for healing. When you respond in the heat of the moment, you feed the fire. When you stay silent, you let it burn out on its own. You learn that peace is more valuable than being right. You learn that sometimes walking away from the argument is not losing, it's leveling up. Silence isn't avoidance, it's wisdom. It's the kind of strength that doesn't shout to be noticed but stands firm in truth. When you embrace silence, your energy changes. You become more observant, more intentional, more grounded. You start to see the world differently. You stop reacting to negativity and start responding with purpose. People may misunderstand your silence thinking it's indifference, but that's only because they can't comprehend peace they don't possess. Silence is a mirror that reflects your maturity back to you. It's how you show the world that your spirit is no longer for sale at the cost of reaction. There's a sacred stillness that lives inside those who have learned to be silent in chaos. It's the stillness that says, I'm at peace, even if the world isn't. That stillness can't be faked, and it can't be taken away. You earn it by enduring pain without revenge, by facing betrayal without bitterness, by standing tall in silence when your name is dragged through the dirt. Because eventually, silence speaks, louder than words, louder than defense, louder than pride. The truth has a way of echoing through your quiet strength. Every time you stay silent, instead of reacting, you reclaim your power. You stop letting others control how you feel. You stop giving away your emotional stability to every storm that passes by. You begin to understand that silence is not emptiness, it's space. Space to think, to breathe, to heal. In that space, your strength grows, your clarity sharpens, your peace deepens. You start to understand that silence doesn't mean you've lost your voice. It means you finally found it. Silence has a rhythm, a wisdom, a peace that no noise can imitate. It carries dignity, grace, and control. It teaches you that the loudest response to disrespect is no response at all. It teaches you that when you stop reacting to small things, big things start to fall into place. It teaches you that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Silence is the mark of someone who's mastered themselves, someone who knows that peace is the real proof of strength. Walk away to grow stronger. It sounds simple, but it takes a level of strength most people never reach. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself over the things that break you. It means recognizing when something no longer serves your peace, your growth, or your purpose. There comes a time when you have to stop fighting battles that drain your soul. You start realizing that not every person, not every situation, and not every argument deserves a place in your energy. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take a deep breath, turn around, and walk away. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to understand that peace is more powerful than pride. People often think that strength is about holding on to relationships, jobs, friendships, and situations just because you've invested time or love in them. But true strength is found in the moment you decide to walk away, even when your heart still cares. It's about understanding that growth often requires distance. Walking away isn't running, it's rising. It's saying, I deserve better than what hurts me, even when every piece of you wants to stay and fix what's broken. Growth demands separation. You can't evolve in an environment that keeps reminding you of who you used to be. There's power in choosing peace over chaos and choosing your future over your comfort zone. When you walk away from something toxic, you create space for something better to enter your life. You begin to heal. You begin to rediscover yourself. Because the truth is, some environments are too small for your spirit. Some people can't go where you're going. You can't build a new version of yourself while staying in the same place that broke the old one. Walking away is not an act of weakness. It's a declaration that you value yourself enough to move toward healing. Walking away also means letting go of control. You can't force people to treat you right. You can't make someone appreciate your work. You can't change situations that aren't meant for you. The more you try to control everything, the more you lose yourself. But when you walk away, you give yourself the gift of freedom. You stop trying to fix things that were never yours to fix. You stop begging for closure and start creating your own peace. You stop looking for validation and start giving yourself permission to be enough as you are. There is a kind of pain that comes with walking away. The pain of leaving behind memories, people, or places that once meant everything. It hurts to walk away from something familiar even when you know it's not right. But that pain is the birth of strength. That's the kind of pain that refines you, sharpens you, and prepares you for the next chapter of your life. Every time you walk away from what no longer serves you, you walk closer to the person you were meant to become. You start realizing that healing often requires heartbreak, and that growth often begins with goodbye. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. You don't have to justify walking away from people who mistreat you, underestimate you, or take your kindness for granted. Sometimes silence and distance speak louder than confrontation ever could. When you walk away, you send a message that says, I respect myself enough to leave the table when love, respect, and peace are no longer being served. That message isn't for them, it's for you. It's a reminder that you control your energy, your boundaries, and your future. Walking away also teaches you patience. The space between leaving what was and finding what's next can feel lonely, confusing, and uncertain. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if you made the right decision. But growth takes time. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of weakness. It's the evidence that you're shedding old versions of yourself. When you walk away, you create room for something new to grow, even if it takes time to see the result. You start trusting that what's meant for you will never require you to lose yourself trying to keep it. There will always be voices, people who tell you to stay, to compromise, to settle. They'll say walking away is quitting, but quitting is giving up on yourself. Walking away is the opposite. It's choosing your sanity, your happiness, and your future. It's understanding that sometimes staying is the real act of surrender. Staying where you're disrespected, unvalued, or unappreciated doesn't make you loyal. It makes you unavailable for your own growth. When you walk away, you reclaim your time, your power, and your worth. You stop settling for almost, for maybe for someday, and start living for now. You start to realize that peace is not found in fixing everything. It's found in letting go of what's not yours to fix. You stop chasing closure and start accepting that silence is sometimes the only answer you need. The people who are meant to understand you never needed an explanation, and the ones who demanded one never truly listened anyway. Walking away means trusting that your absence will speak what your words never could. It means accepting that distance is sometimes the only way to see things clearly. Walking away also gives you perspective. You begin to look back and understand why certain things had to end. You start seeing how holding on was keeping you stuck, how trying to make everyone happy was draining your spirit. You realize that peace doesn't mean everything's perfect. It means you've made peace with imperfection. You start valuing quiet over chaos, peace over validation, growth over comfort. Walking away helps you rebuild your boundaries, your confidence, and your faith. It's how you learn that losing others is not the end. Losing yourself is. Walking away doesn't always mean leaving a person. Sometimes it means leaving behind a version of yourself that no longer serves you. You walk away from the habits that kept you small, the thoughts that made you doubt your worth, and the fears that kept you from taking risks. You let go of the need to be understood, to be liked, to be approved of. You start realizing that the only validation that truly matters is your own. Walking away becomes a spiritual act. An act of choosing light over darkness, growth over stagnation, and faith over fear. Walking away means trusting the process. It's believing that endings are not punishments, they're redirections. You may not understand it while it's happening, but one day, you'll look back and realize that walking away was the best decision you ever made. Because every time you walked away from what hurt you, you walked closer to what healed you. Every time you said no to something toxic, you said yes to your peace. Every time you let go, you grew stronger. Walking away is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your strength. It's the quiet decision that changes everything without needing to announce it. It's the invisible act of courage that says, I love myself enough to let go. And when you do, you find freedom. You find power. You find yourself. Energy flows where focus goes. A truth so powerful yet so often ignored. Whatever you give your attention to expands. If you focus on fear, fear grows. If you focus on problems, they multiply. But when you choose to focus on purpose, on gratitude, on growth, that's exactly what starts to bloom in your life. Your focus is like sunlight. It can either nourish the garden of your dreams or burn it down depending on where you direct it. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you dwell on, every word you repeat to yourself sends energy somewhere. And that energy, over time, shapes the life you live. Most people don't realize how much power they give away just by focusing on what drains them. You cannot expect peace while feeding chaos. You cannot expect success while focusing on failure. The direction of your focus defines the quality of your life. Your mind is like a lens. It magnifies whatever it's pointed at. When you constantly focus on what's missing, you'll always feel like you don't have enough. But when you focus on what's working, even the smallest blessings begin to multiply. Energy responds to intention. If your intention is rooted in lack, you'll keep attracting situations that reinforce that lack. But if your intention is rooted in abundance, gratitude, and faith, you'll start to draw in people, opportunities, and moments that reflect that energy back to you. It's not magic, it's mindset. The universe, life, whatever name you give it, listens to where your energy goes. And where your focus lives, your future begins to grow. There are people who wonder why nothing changes in their lives, but they spend every day focusing on everything that's wrong. They feed fear with their thoughts, they feed doubt with their words, and then they wonder why they feel so tired. Energy doesn't lie. It goes exactly where you send it. When your focus is constantly on negativity, your life will mirror that back to you. You can't plant seeds of frustration and expect to harvest peace. The garden of your life depends on the thoughts you water. When you change your focus, everything else begins to shift. Problems don't disappear overnight, but your perception of them changes. And when your perception changes, so does your power. Focus is not just about where your eyes look, it's about where your heart stays. You can be surrounded by chaos and still find peace if you focus on what's good. You can be going through pain and still find strength if you focus on what's possible instead of what's lost. Energy flows toward purpose, and purpose grows stronger where attention is steady. When your mind is scattered, when you keep jumping between regrets of the past and fears of the future, your energy leaks. But when you focus your thoughts, when you bring your energy back to this moment, you reclaim your strength. The present is where your power lives. Every moment you spend focused on what you can control gives life to progress, while every moment you spend on what you can't drains it away. Energy follows emotion. Whatever you feel most often becomes your reality. When you constantly focus on anger, frustration, or jealousy, your body and mind adapt to that frequency. You start attracting people and experiences that match that vibration. But when you shift your focus to gratitude, kindness, and possibility, you begin to attract peace. It's not that the world becomes easier, it's that your energy stops being wasted on what doesn't matter. You begin to see life through a lens of strength instead of struggle. You start noticing how much beauty exists in places you once overlooked. That's the power of focused energy. It doesn't just change what you see, it changes who you are while you're seeing it. You have to be intentional with your focus because the world is designed to steal it. Every sound, every screen, every headline is fighting for your attention. If you don't take control of your focus, something else will. Distraction is the silent thief of energy. It pulls you away from your goals one click, one scroll, one thought at a time. You begin your day with purpose, but by the afternoon, your energy is scattered in 100 directions. Mastery begins when you decide to take your attention back. When you set your focus on growth, you stop feeding gossip. When you set your focus on faith, you stop feeding fear. When you set your focus on peace, you stop feeding pain. Energy flows where focus goes, so guard your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. Focus determines what you experience, even in pain. Two people can go through the same storm. One sees destruction, the other sees lessons. The difference isn't luck, it's focus. The one who focuses on pain stays in survival. The one who focuses on purpose grows through the pain. Life will always bring storms. You can't stop that, but you can choose what the storm builds inside you. When you focus on growth instead of hurt, the same rain that once drowned you begins to make you grow. Every setback, every heartbreak, every delay becomes fertilizer for your strength. That's the beauty of focus. It transforms struggle into strategy. Sometimes you have to remind yourself that what you focus on, you become. If you keep focusing on your flaws, you'll never see your potential. If you keep focusing on your failures, you'll never see your progress. But if you focus on how far you've come, you'll find gratitude. And gratitude creates momentum. The more you appreciate, the more energy you create. It's a cycle. Focus, energy, action, result. Focus creates energy. Energy fuels action. Action brings results, and results reinforce focus. That's why it's so important to break the habit of focusing on everything that drains you. The more you complain, the more you confirm limitation. The more you focus on growth, the more you command transformation. Your focus determines your frequency, and your frequency determines your future. When you learn to focus on what you want instead of what you fear, the world starts to respond differently. The same opportunities that once passed you by suddenly appear in front of you because you've shifted your awareness. You start recognizing chances for growth, love, and success that were always there but hidden behind the fog of negativity. Focus is not just about looking forward, it's about looking deeper. It's about training your mind to find peace in uncertainty, lessons in struggle, and power in patience. Energy flows where focus goes, and focus thrives in intention. Every morning before the world gets loud, you decide where your energy will go. Will you feed your peace or your problems? Will you focus on what's possible or what's painful? The choice is always yours. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you focus through it. When you focus on solutions, problems shrink. When you focus on gratitude, lack fades. When you focus on love, fear loses power. Your energy shapes your world, and your focus directs that energy. Every thought, every word, every feeling is a seed. And wherever you plant those seeds, that's where your life will grow. Inner calm is real power. It's not loud, it doesn't demand attention, and it doesn't come with noise. It's that quiet strength that doesn't need to prove anything. In a world where everyone is rushing, reacting, comparing, and competing, inner calm becomes your greatest superpower. It's the ability to stay still when everything around you is shaking, to remain composed when chaos tries to pull you in, and to choose peace over pressure. Real strength is not in how hard you can hit back, but in how gracefully you can stand tall when life hits you. When you have inner calm, you don't lose your temper. You find your truth. You stop being controlled by situations and you start controlling how you respond to them. That's what separates the powerful from the restless. There's something magnetic about a person who carries calm energy. They walk into a room and you can feel their peace. They're not moved by gossip, not disturbed by judgment, and not shaken by fear. They know who they are, and that's enough. The calm within them commands respect without saying a word. It's not arrogance, it's mastery. Mastery over emotions, over ego, over the need to always react. Because reacting is easy, but responding with grace takes strength. Calmness doesn't mean you don't care, it means you care wisely. It's knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Most people think calm comes from comfort, but true calm often grows in chaos. It's in the storms that you learn to steady your spirit. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to sail. And you can't stop life from throwing challenges at you, but you can decide how much of your peace you let them take. Every challenge teaches you something: how to breathe deeper, how to think clearer, and how to keep your soul grounded even when your world feels upside down. That's the real power of calm. It turns pain into patience, pressure into perspective, and anger into awareness. When you start living from a place of inner calm, you stop being reactive to every small thing. You stop rushing into arguments to prove you're right. You stop letting negativity decide your mood. You begin to pause before responding, breathe before deciding, and think before speaking. That pause, that small quiet space is where your power lives. The calm person isn't weak. They've simply realized that energy is precious. They choose not to waste it on anything that doesn't help them grow. When your heart is calm, your vision becomes clear. You see opportunities instead of problems, lessons instead of losses. You move with purpose, not panic. The world will always try to disrupt your peace. There will always be noise, opinions, drama, and distractions trying to pull you out of your center. But calmness isn't about escaping the world. It's about facing it with a steady heart. It's about being so anchored within yourself that no matter what happens outside, you don't lose balance inside. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, awareness, and intention. It means setting boundaries, protecting your time, and surrounding yourself with peace instead of pressure. It's realizing that calmness is not something you find, it's something you create. Every morning, every choice, every reaction, it's all a chance to choose calm over chaos. There's real beauty in being unshakable. It doesn't mean you never feel pain or frustration. It means you don't let those emotions control you. You feel them, you understand them, and then you let them pass. That's maturity. That's power. Because people who can stay calm in the middle of the storm are the ones who end up steering the ship. They don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. They stay aligned with their purpose even when others lose direction. They know that peace is not a place you read. It's a way you travel. Calmness also comes from trust. Trusting that things will work out even if you don't see how right now. Trusting that every delay has a purpose, every rejection is redirection, and every setback is a setup for something better. When you trust the process, your mind relaxes, your heart softens, and your soul breathes. You stop forcing things and start flowing with them. You realize that not everything needs your reaction. Some things just need your silence. That silence isn't empty, it's full of wisdom. It's where clarity lives. Inner calm is also about forgiveness. Because holding on to anger, resentment, or bitterness only steals your peace. You forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. When you let go, you make space for better energy, better thoughts, and better days. Calmness isn't found in control, it's found in release. When you stop trying to control everything and everyone, you begin to experience true serenity. You accept what you can't change and focus your energy on what you can. Your attitude, your mindset, your response. That's the essence of emotional intelligence, choosing peace when chaos is the easier choice. You become unbothered not because nothing affects you, but because nothing owns you. That's the transformation that happens when you find inner calm. You stop chasing approval, validation, and revenge. You stop explaining your worth to people who were never meant to understand it. You learn that sometimes silence is your loudest answer, and peace is your greatest comeback. You don't need to defend your light, just keep shining. The calm soul knows that everything meant for them will come, and everything not meant will fade without force. That's the kind of confidence calmness builds, not the loud, boastful kind, but the quiet, certain kind that whispers, "I'm good no matter what." Inner calm isn't something you display for the world. It's something you build for yourself. It's your sanctuary in a noisy world, your strength when everything else feels uncertain. It's that deep, unshakable peace that no one can take away because it wasn't given by anyone else. It was created by you. And once you reach that level of calm, once you've tasted that kind of peace, you'll protect it like treasure. You'll stop letting small things disturb your big spirit. You'll stop letting temporary emotions decide the direction of your destiny, because you'll finally understand that the calmest person in the room is always the most powerful one.